Now, I am so glad to hand over to Cynthia.
Hi, Sikemi. Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Nyongesa, a lawyer and GPE youth leader from Nairobi, Kenya. We are so excited to see you all here together, and we hope that the voices of young people will have an impact on the deliberations and decisions that will be made today. As a little girl, my father taught me how to. My mother would take me to the library every Saturday so that I could be exposed to a variety of books. In fact, I was the fastest reader in my class. My teacher would ask me to teach my classmates how to read. That is the opportunity I hope every child can experience. In the face of the COVID pandemic, we risk seeing many children never returning to school, either because of teenage pregnancies or because their parents lost their jobs. We know that investing in education is one of the ways that our countries can recover from the pandemic. That's why I raise my hand for education and for GPE, because it is through education that a child gains the skills they need, whether that is to be a leader, a doctor, a teacher, or a musician, and to build a better, more equal world for everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. What powerful, inspiring, and challenging words. Thank you very much indeed to Shikemi here in London and Cynthia in Nairobi. Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the Global Education Summit. My name is Natasha Kaplinski.
And my name is Edwin Macharia, and it is exciting that the schedule we have today to you is all about education. And this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, once-in-a-lifetime generation opportunity to transform education. And that's why we are so proud to welcome you to this Global Education Summit that is about financing GPE for 2025.
Absolutely. Well, we are guests today, as you know, of the governments of Kenya and the United Kingdom, together with GPE, the Global Partnership for Education. And we have a truly packed and very exciting lineup for you today. Today, we're going to be hearing from people from across the spectrum of partnerships, that is GPE, from governments and civil society, from businesses and bankers, from philanthropists and international organisations, and from teachers and from youth. And that presents Edwin and I a few challenges.
It truly does, Natasha. And so even as we kick off, we'll ask you to just indulge us in two critical things. The first one is we have a packed schedule. And so if you're on stage and you see us looming over you, or you see us getting closer and closer, or beginning to try and politely interrupt you, please take it as a good sign that we're trying to just keep the conversation moving. And please, and I promise you, Natasha has an incredible death stare that you do not want to tempt her to bring out today. In similar fashion, we will try and minimize protocol today and have this day run as a series of conversations. So please do not take offense if we do not call you by your formal title or use your first name. We're really trying to keep the energy of the room going to focus on the people who should most be in the room, who are the young people who are deserving of great education.
And Edwin, can I just say how thrilled I am to be working with you. I grew up in Kenya. I spoke Swahili until I was 8, and now I'm presenting with Edwin, so I feel like we're bonded.
Asante.
So, asante sana.
Asante sana, Natasha.
That's about as much as I can do now.
We'll work on it over the course of the day.
So we've all come together today, as we know, because we share in the belief that there is nothing more important for the future of our world than ensuring a quality education for every single child. And to kick us off in style, from the Government of the United Kingdom, the Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, Dominic Raab.
Well, thank you all very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends. Welcome to London and welcome to the Global Education Summit. We gathered with heads of states and ministers from over 30 countries NGOs, other partners, thousands joining online from right around the world. We're gathered because we're united in believing in one really important thing, and that is in the power of education as a force for good in the world. We believe in the testimonies we just heard from Shikemi and my fellow lawyer Cynthia, and millions of young people like that. We believe in their potential and the power of education to unleash it. That's why we're here today, and that's why there is a breathless new urgency around the work that the GP are doing. Because we know that COVID has set back progress further and faster than anyone could have possibly predicted at the time. We know that 1.6 billion children and young people were out of education at the height of those school closures during the pandemic. And there's a real risk that as many as 24 million children will never return to school. And of course, of those who are out of school, it is often the girls that are slowest to get back into education for a whole range of reasons. We just cannot allow that to happen. That's why we've got to get behind the vital work that the Global Partnership for Education is doing. And I want to pay tribute to Alice Albright, to Julia Gillard, and the whole GP team for the fantastic dynamism, determination, and commitment that they brought to this vital mission. And I think partnership is the key word in all of this, because we know that we'll achieve much more together, working in partnership, than we could ever alone. So it's in that spirit that we're delighted and honoured to co-host this summit with Kenya. And let me just say a little bit about that partnership that we've been nurturing and developing with Kenya. Because the government of Kenya has done a truly phenomenal job, and particularly on education. They've trained more than 102,000 teachers and distributed 60 million textbooks in primary and secondary schools. They've realised the goal of universal primary education and gender parity in enrolment. That's quite something. And I want to pay tribute in particular to President Kenyatta and congratulate the whole Kenyan government, and indeed Kenya as a whole, on that inspiring achievement. And I'd say that we as the UK are also proud in helping to support Kenya in the progress they've made, just as we're proud to have worked in partnership with so many others who are represented here at the summit today. In Ghana, we've worked with the government, with NGOs to run community-based classes, which have supported 270,000 out-of-school children to gain literacy and numeracy skills, as well as other life skills, which are so important. In Pakistan, we've provided targeted support for over 400,000 highly marginalised young girls. And that includes providing scholarships for young girls from tough backgrounds to get an education. It includes setting up community-run schools to reduce the distance that the girls must travel so that they can get that vital education. So let's keep that engine of progress fired up and build on what we've achieved to date. Because quite simply, we believe that educating girls is the biggest game changer in global development policy. And that's not just something we feel in our hearts. Take a look at the facts, the evidence that back that up. A child whose mother can read is 50% more likely to live beyond the age of 5, 50% more likely to be immunised, and twice as likely to attend school themselves. Our cause today empowers girls and women, but it also helps whole families, whole communities, whole nations get out of the poverty trap and into a better standard of living. That's why the UK is hosting this summit alongside our Kenyan friends. Between 2015 and 2020, the UK helped over 8 million girls into education. Earlier this month at the United Nations Human Rights Council, we introduced a resolution to promote girls' education, and in particular to promote 12 years of quality education, the bedrock, the foundation. And it was backed by over 80 countries. So our alliance for this mission is growing, and that's going to be a force multiplier, if you like, as we step up our efforts. Then in Cornwall at the G7 Summit of Leaders under the UK presidency, the G7 endorsed 2 new targets to focus our work. Those targets are getting 40 million more girls into 12 years quality education and 20 million more girls literate by the age of 10. We want to focus this incredibly important cause on the key areas that will make a difference. But just think for a moment. Just think what it will mean for the lives, the countries, and the whole continents that can be transformed if we can deliver on those global targets and our financial goals that we've got here today. Just think about that. It would be truly transformative, if not revolutionary, particularly in Africa. So let's do it. Let's get behind this. Let's get behind those targets. Let's find the investments that we know will repay us many times over. The Global Partnership for Education will be absolutely essential in helping us reach our goals. And as I said, I think the GPE is the linchpin in this mission that we've set ourselves. And to transform education in the world's most vulnerable countries, we want to raise $4 billion at this summit this week. And that is, of course, the lion's share of the $5 billion of funding that the GPE needs over the next 5 years to hit these crucial targets. And the GPE is going to be investing those resources with a plan they've got in wise ways, in smart ways, focusing on where the money is needed most and where the investment can add the most value, looking at the highest impact that we can possibly have. They'll work to boost the quality of education by working with countries to develop plans to transform their education systems, encouraging the reforming zeal of the brightest and the best across the continents, monitoring the implementation of those plans, and investing in key game-changing reforms, whether it's boosting teacher training or making the best use of education tech wherever we can. But we can't do any of those things without the money. The funds that we raise this week will allow us to take huge strides forward towards those ambitious targets. And again, let's just remind ourselves, 40 million more girls getting 12 years of quality education, 20 million more girls literate by the age of 10. It's absolutely critical we raise that $4 billion this week. If we can, it will be the single biggest financial boost to children's educational opportunities around the world in history. And it would come at a point, if we think about this pandemic, of maximum need. So we've got a really critical crossroads moment for us all here at this summit this week. Let's be restless. Let's summon all of our ambition, all of our passion, all of our focus, all of the best policy minds that are here. And for our part, the UK has pledged £430 million. It's the largest ever pledge we've made to GPE. It's 15% up on the last multi-year pledge that we made. And under our presidency, G7 leaders have pledged at least $2.7 billion. So we're off to a flying start, but we're not there yet. So today, forgive me, but I'm going to call on everyone to pledge whatever they can, to be as ambitious as they possibly can in pursuit of this life-changing, world-transforming mission that I know that we all share. Together, let's seize the opportunity that this summit presents. Let's revolutionize the life chances of those girls, those communities, those whole nations, and those continents that we have the power, the gift to support. I think we know it in our minds, and I think we know it and feel it in our hearts. Children want to learn. I've got two young kids myself, 8 and 6. They want to understand the world. They want to fulfill their potential and lift up their own prospects, but also their families, their communities, their nations. And that starts and ends with the education they receive. So please, 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 together, let's make this moment count. Thank you all very much.
Secretary of State, thank you very much indeed. A quality education for every child. That is the vision of GPE. I present now the CEO of GPE, Alice Albright.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Secretary Rob. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to welcome you here today to the Global Education Summit and the fourth replenishment for the Global Partnership for Education. Thank you so much, Shakima and Cynthia, for your very powerful words that have inspired us to be more ambitious than we ever thought possible. I am so honored to be able to share the stage today with the distinguished UK Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab, whose incredible leadership has helped put girls' education on the top of the G7 political agenda, and the esteemed Kenyan Foreign Affairs Secretary, Ambassador Rachel Omamo. We are extremely grateful for Kenya's leadership on domestic financing for education. Your Excellencies, Ministers of Education, distinguished guests, we are here today because we believe in the power of education to transform our future and make our world a better place. Every one of us in this room and watching online can probably tell a story of how education has helped shape us and helped us realize our dreams. I know that I can. In my travels as the CEO of GPE, I have heard these stories from children around the world. From Sakiba in Pakistan, who looks up at her female teacher, trained with support from GPE, and says, "I want to study until my last breath." From Achitu of Mauritania, who is now one of the top students in her class, and she goes to one of the community schools that GPE helped build. Friends, distinguished guests, we are also here today because we believe in the power of working together, and that is what GPE is all about. But we are at an inflection point. On the one hand, together, we have achieved so much. We've helped 160 million more children, including 82 million more girls, attend school in GPE partner countries. We've catalyzed nearly $1 billion through our innovative finance mechanisms. We have helped partner countries save up to $6 billion through greater efficiencies. We've created a unique knowledge, innovation, and exchange platform, as well as the biggest education advocacy fund in the world. And last year, 2020, we launched the largest window dedicated to COVID-19 education response and recovery for lower income countries. But on the other hand, there are still nearly 250 million children who don't have education as part of their stories. And the progress that we have made could be set back by years following the extraordinary school closures that were necessary last year. Unless we act, and we act boldly and at scale. But in just 1 year, we've seen more child marriage, more sexual violence, and less education. Even before the pandemic, 129 million girls were not in school, and nearly 1 in 3 of the very poorest adolescent girls has never set foot in a classroom. And many who are in classrooms aren't learning enough. All of that is inexcusable. But when we think about the scale of the problem, it can seem insurmountable. But we are also here today because we believe in the power of working together. And that is what GPE is all about. Together, we can tackle the learning crisis. We have a bold vision and a strategic plan to transform education. We are improving learning, equity, and inclusion for the most marginalized children. We are hardwiring gender approaches into all of our operations. We are providing the finance to catalyze reforms and to invest in stronger education systems. And we are building the power of our partnership with fantastic support from the philanthropic community and civil society. We are working with companies to strengthen education data and leverage their social marketing capabilities to get more girls into school. So, we do have the building blocks in place already to create real change. And that is why GPE must raise at least $5 billion over the next 5 years from donors. The vast majority of it, I hope, happens today. Along with domestic finance and other resources that are crowded in, These investments will help enable 175 million children to learn, get 88 more children into school, and the ripple effects of these investments will be substantial. 2 million girls will escape early childhood marriage, 3 million lives will be saved, and economies will be boosted by up to $30 trillion. So GPE knows what needs to be done, but we can't do it alone. We are where we are today because of all of you, here and online, because of the heroic efforts of teachers, the unyielding support of civil society and young people, the leadership shown by donor and partner governments, and the efforts of every single constituency represented here. Thank you. Today is a demonstration of the power of a partnership, and it will take all of us working together to take the next steps. We must think and act bigger than ever, and we must stop at nothing else other than short of transformation for every girl and boy who deserves to have an education as part of their story. So let me say thank you. I also want to give, again, a fantastic thank you to the governments of Kenya and the UK for their incredible leadership and energy and dedication. I want to thank GPE's board leadership, Julia and Minister Tiam, our incoming board leadership, President Kikwete and Dr. Leotode, and I want to give a huge shout out to the team at GPE. Nobody has worked more tirelessly than they have to make today what's going to be a landmark day for us. Well done, guys.
Thank you very much, Alice, for that rousing speech, really emphasizing why this is such an important moment for education in the world. Thank you, Alice. And now I'll invite the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, who happens to be my Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Rachel Oman. Karibu.
May I begin by wishing you all a very good morning and to thanking my dear colleague, Dominic Raab, for his very warm welcome, and also you, Madam Albright, for the wonderful work that the GPE Secretariat has put in under really extraordinary circumstances to ensure that we're able to gather here today. I also want to thank Sekemi and Cynthia, our youth leaders, for representing the youth at the opening session of this Global Education Summit. Indeed, the stakes for global education have never been higher, and your statements are timely. They are a reminder that we are here primarily because of you, because of our children, and because of our youth. And I thank Cynthia for speaking to us from my home in Nairobi, Kenya. As co-hosts of the Global Education Summit, allow me to extend our warm welcome to all the participants here. Whether you're here in London or whether you're joining us virtually from other parts of the world, we are truly honored to have you here today